Casa Composer model is one of the finest AI coding models we've seen so far. But you might be behind the curve if you don't know how to fully use it to your own advantage. Yes, Casa Composer is a great model, but are you getting the best out of it? When I first tried Casa Composer model, I was so impressed that for a few hours I forgot about Claude Sonnet 4.5. I guess you've had the same effect. So in this tutorial, we'll take Casa Composer model to full testing and hopefully hit its limits. And if you watch until the end of this video, you'll discover a quick trick I found that turns this model into a full coding beast without burning your limits. But just in case you're new here, my name is Joe. I create videos about AI models and AI coding tools on a daily basis. You can find me here and on Medium. My current goal here is to reach 10K subscribers on YouTube. And it would be great if you can help me in that journey. Hit that subscribe button and help us keep going. Now let's get back to this Casa Composer model tutorial. To get started with Composer model, open Casa and navigate to the Agent panel and click on the New Agent button. Select the agent mode, and on this next drop-down, which is labeled by default Auto, you are supposed to toggle it off to access the models. If you're using Casa Free version, this will not work. You need to upgrade to the Pro version to access the Casa Composer model. Casa Composer model is only available for paid users. To start using it, you simply select it as your model of choice and you're ready to go. You will note that it comes with a 200K token window and it's purely an agentic coding model from this notification. Now let's move on to the testing prompt. We are going to be building Prompts Manager, and our prompt is build a simple full stack CRUD application for managing AI prompts using vanilla JavaScript, Python Fast API, and SQLite. Then our tech stack is front end, use vanilla JS, HTML, CSS, no frameworks. The backend use Python Fast API. And for the database, we go with SQLite. We don't want any React or Node.js. We give it a simple project structure, a prompt manager folder with backend. Main.py is a backend file, a database, models, requirements.txt, prompts.db, which is our database, and the front-end files. We also give it a simple database schema and some API endpoints, get single prompt, create a new prompt, and that kind of a thing. For the front-end, we give it a detailed HTML structure, some JavaScript, and CSS styling. To make this functional, we give it some AI model integration instructions like using OpenAI, Anthropic Python packages. Of course, we have additional instructions like README should be set up, and we should have Fast API, SQLite, and OpenAI, Anthropic, and that kind of a thing. Prompt is supposed to build a simple, clean, production-ready application with good code organization and error handling. Casa Composer. The best way to start building using Casa Composer is to use the plan mode, which gives you a structured way to design your app fast before you can build. We will use the plan mode along with the composer to map out all to-dos and the blueprint of this app, and we will then assign different agents to work on different parts of the project using our blueprint. To start, place your prompt in the prompt input box and carefully review your prompt to see everything is okay. I sent the prompt, and immediately you can see the agent in the sidebar has started building the plan. In the coding area, it puts me through these different kinds of questions to help Composer build my project blueprint. You should follow along these questions and answer them to guide Composer on how it should build your project blueprint. One of the tricks I mentioned in the introduction, when using Composer, never start your project with the agent mode, especially for new projects where you want to build from scratch. Start with the planning mode, which gives you the build structure and makes Composer faster and more accurate. Once ready, you will see the complete project plan that you can adjust to align with your goals, and you can also add some to-do lists to kickstart your building process. From my prompt, Casa Composer gave me a very detailed project blueprint here. At the top, there are buttons that you can use to quickly navigate and see different kinds of options. We have this preview that supports both the normal text view and the markdown. Then a drop-down that you can use to change your model currently is set to Casa Composer. And this button with two options to build locally or build in the cloud. Scrolling at the bottom of the plan document, you have this button to add new to-do list that you can use to enhance your plan and build if you require any specific order of to-dos or specific tasks. Let's now look at how to build faster with Composer by orchestrating multiple agents to work on the project simultaneously. Composer multiple agents. Composer supports up to 8 parallel agents that work simultaneously. This is one of the fastest AI coding strategies that you can use. It's simple and straightforward. Add a new agent prompt such as, I would like you to come up with a CI/CD development pipeline for this app on the best available resources. Immediately, Casa Composer starts creating an elaborate list of 5 to-dos, and it will not stop there. It goes ahead and starts creating the deployment configuration files. It creates the Docker files, and it even prompts me to set up the Docker extension and PowerShell extension that is similar to VS Code extensions. Within minutes, it has generated an elaborate plan to deploy our app, which includes a clean CI/CD pipeline. And this configuration comes with a README that is detailed and well structured to help you with the deployment. Looking at these deployment files it generates, this is a very comprehensive, well thought out plan on how we will deploy this app and keep it running without breaking. This is the beauty of using multiple agents. You get the separation of roles, and it improves the speed it takes to build the entire app. To take this to 10x speed, we need to split our project into multiple agent roles. We can begin with the front end and the back end agent working independently, each building a different part of the project, but referencing our plan, the blueprint we developed in our first step. This will keep the build consistent with our project goal. Now, let's split the roles. To assign different agents to different parts of the project, we need to reference our blueprint, and in Casa, we use the @ symbol that gives the prompt additional context. We start with the front-end agent, use the plan we developed to build the front end of this app. Then we select the mode to be agent, since we are not building, and select our model to be Composer 1. When that front-end agent has started working, we move to create the backend agent and give it a reference to use our blueprint to build the backend. And again, we set the mode to be agent mode and the model to be Composer 1. We now have these two agents working in parallel, building on one code base and each working at its own task and both towards a common goal. This would not be possible if the model we're working with here can't handle huge context or is limited by either cost or capabilities. Luckily, Composer 1 is very efficient at spinning multiple agents working simultaneously. You can now see each agent is creating its own files and the code at the same time. I now move back and forth between the backend and the frontend agents, reviewing the files and the code they have created, and within a few minutes, Composer completes the build. And now we need to think about how we can use Composer to improve the code quality or fix bugs quickly. And the best option is to use the inline edits. To use inline edits, open the file where you wish to make changes. In this case, I would like to test the prompt form submission. I'll select it and add it to the chart. Note, when I'm adding it, I need to open the right agent so that it works and it does not go into vicious endless loops of errors. As I add, you can see the context icon inside the prompt box, which shows the approximate percentage of context that you've used. Remember, Composer 1 gives you up to 200k context window. I then type my prompt along with my code highlight. I would like you to test the form submission. Note, I selected Composer as the model, and it begins by giving me this comprehensive testing document on how I can test, and it covers everything that I need to test for this form submission. Now that the app is already working, it's time for us to examine how Casa browser agent works along with the Composer model. Browser testing. To open Casa browser inbuilt feature, you can simply type a prompt like open the browser and test the front end. You can give it reference like index.html file to give it better context. Casa loads up the front end, which starts with the login and registration page for my app. For us to conduct a complete test, login, registration, and all that kind of crude create, read, and delete kind of test, we need to ensure that everything works, and most importantly, the backend needs to run. After testing, it begins to fail since we are not running the backend. I add a new prompt to start the backend as well. Composer begins by running the backend, and immediately it opens up this PowerShell with a lot of errors about broken backend because there are several Python dependencies that are missing. And again, Composer proceeds to install all these dependencies one after another. In a few minutes, it opens the second terminal and successfully runs the backend server, which I think is cool. We begin testing again, and after a few failed tests, I discover they are all caused by cross-origin errors, and possibly the Casa built-in browser is the cause. I attempted several approaches to resolve this, but it became the dreaded AI loop of errors that only human intervention can help. But the silver lining is that Composer has built a complete functional app in minutes and even created a nice prompt manager API documentation for the backend. And when I finally tested the app on Chrome, it worked. But it's at this point I discovered how quickly you can run out of context and end up in loops if you don't understand this. AI coding tools should never replace your knowledge or your control. When running automated tests, you need to be keen since it quickly turns into loops of errors once you encounter your first one. This is what happened here with Composer. And the best trick is to take back your control. Install your dependencies, do the manual checkup, and control part of the testing manually. This will not only save you hours, tokens, but also eliminate unnecessary headaches. And if you're serious about taking your Cursor coding skill to the next level, check out this other video that is on the screen. If you enjoyed this video, do not forget to like and subscribe. One like, one subscribe gives me one more step forward to bringing you great content. Thank you, and I appreciate it.